Welcome class to lesson 4.1a. Today we're going to talk about polynomials, but this time we are going to analyze these polynomial functions. So basically describing parts of the graphs. All right, so have your notes out and ready to go. All right, let's look at some vocabulary of talking about what a polynomial is in a little bit more detail, okay? So it says a monomial, it could be a variable or just a number. It could be a product of numbers and a variable, so any one of these are monomials, okay? A polynomial is either a single monomial or some of them. So it could be a binomial, trinomial, those are all polynomials. These are a few things to check to see if it's a polynomial or not. So just make sure the numbers in front, which are called the coefficients, are real numbers. So no imaginary numbers, no i's can be coefficients. If you're looking at the exponents, they must be positive whole numbers. So no negatives, no fractions, okay? And a few other things to remember, no square roots on the variables and having no variables on in the denominator. Here's a couple in your notes already, examples of things that are not. So if you flag any of these possibilities, it makes it not a polynomial. We have different functions for those types of equations, okay? So it's okay for a number to be under square root, but not the variable. So no fractions, no decimals, and no negatives, definitely no x's on the bottom. All right, so let's identify a few of those. To write in standard form, they do ask whenever you're writing your polynomials, please write it in standard form. So what they're asking for, write the monomials in a function in order so that the exponents go from big to small or highest to lowest. So looking at the exponents only, okay? They'll ask for the degree. The degree is the number of the highest exponent. So whatever the highest number of the exponent is, that's the degree of that polynomial. Leading coefficient. Again, the word coefficient does mean the number in the front. So the leading, so front of, coefficient is number, in front of the highest degree. So the variable that has the highest exponent, that's the number you're going to take. Here are some types of polynomials. Star this page so that you know where to look. So if they ask for what type it is, you go to here. If the degree is 0, that means it's just a number, let's say 5. If I say it's 5, there is no x, the degree is nothing. So there are no x's, the degree is nothing. That is a constant horizontal line. If it's a line like y equals 2x plus 3, that's a straight line with a slope, again, 2x plus 3. X has an exponent of 1. That makes a line, okay? And we've done a lot of quadratics in part 1. So something x squared, you get a nice parabola. It's called a quadratic. Here are two newer ones. You may have heard of a cubic. So if the highest exponent is a 3, it is called a cubic. And if the highest exponent is a 4, we call it a quartic. Think of it like quarter to help you remember that word, okay? Quartic. All right, so those are the most common polynomials you'll come around with. All right, and just make sure if they're asking for type of polynomial, this is the words that they're asking for, okay? All right, so pause the video real quick. I want you to try this on your own before you replay the video. There are 4 examples here, and I want you to find which of these is considered a polynomial. And if it's not, I wonder if you can circle and find what's wrong with it. What makes it not a polynomial, okay? Replay the video when you're ready to check. All right, I hope you had a chance to try, so let's see if you match what I have. I have this first one, and the very last one on the bottom right is, both those are polynomials. So let's point out on the other ones what makes it not a polynomial. For here, I have a square root under, the variables under that square root, so that's a no-no. So not having square roots around variables. And this bottom right here has a variable on the bottom, so that actually is a negative exponent. So no negative exponents, no variables on the bottom. That makes it not a polynomial. Okay. All right, we're going to practice just rewriting. This goes by really fast. So we rewrite in standard form, which means we're going to look at the exponents and we want to go from high to low to low to low. So just rewriting it in order. And then from there, we are going to identify what is the degree, what is that highest exponent, and the leading, so in front, number, so leading coefficient, okay? From this example, I want to look at the exponents only and search for which one's the highest. I can see that negative 2x to the fourth is the highest one. And then you want to keep searching which one is the next highest and going down from there. So here's what I got. All right, so don't forget to include that negative. So any negatives in sign in front goes with that number, okay? So don't lose negative signs along the way. All right, answering this question, degree is the exponent. Take a look at the exponent and you want to identify what number is the highest. I see it is 4, so that one actually is a quartic. And coefficient is the number in front of that. So the number in front of x to the fourth power is negative 2. So leading coefficient is negative 2. Okay. By identifying these things later on in 4.1b, we're going to use these two concepts to describe the graph of these polynomials a bit further. So knowing the degree and knowing whether that leading coefficient is going to be positive or negative is going to tell us a little bit more about the graph. All right. Two more. I'd like you to try these. Go ahead and pause the video. And just like we did before, rewrite this in standard form from highest degree to lowest, and then identify what two numbers. What is the number for the degree, and what is the number for that leading coefficient? Hit play when you are ready to check your work. All right, honestly, did you pause and really write these down on your own? And then let's just check it real quick, okay? I write f of x. If you want to write it as y equals, it does mean the same thing. You still have an equation, okay? So you write y equals. This way is fine. In big ideas, when you do your homework, they use f of x a lot too. So you'll see both ways, all right? Did you remember that negative in front of the x to the ninth power? Remember, any negative sign, go with the variable itself. All right, let's check your degree. The highest exponent there was 9, and the number in front of the x to the ninth is a negative 1 right there in the front. And very last one, did you put it in the correct order with a degree of 4, and that number in front of x to the fourth was 8. All right, how did you do? Go ahead and fix anything that you need to, and then replay the video when you're ready to move on. All right, we have one more concept to finish before we wrap up today's lesson. You'll have problems with that will ask you to evaluate. Evaluate, if you look at the word value, we're looking for a number, like what is the value of it? So if they're asking for f of 3, that's how you're going to read it, f of 3. This is f of x. So instead of x, they want to know, if x is 3, what would this whole thing be? So that's exactly what we're going to do. Anywhere where you see x, you're going to replace it with the number that they're asking for. And in this example, they're asking for what is the value when x equals 3 exactly. Notice how I wrote everything in parentheses. I would recommend that you do the same. That way when you use your calculator, you can use your calculator. If you're at home, you don't have a calculator, go open a tab and go to desmos.com, desmos.com, and you can use that as a calculator. I would recommend you type it in just like you see it like this, and then hit enter. I got 98, if you can confirm that. So the answer to this problem, the value when x is 3, is equal to 98. All right, there's one last one. It says you try. So give it a try first, and then you're going to check your answers. For this one, go ahead and try this, please. They want to know what is the value when x equals negative 2. So go ahead and try with your calculator. I want to make sure that you're still getting the correct response. So yes, you know what to substitute, but if you're typing these in wrong in the calculator, you need to know why. So please be careful. Use your calculator. Use the online calculator if you need to. Make sure everything is typing out properly, okay? All right, so try it with yours and verify. I got negative 90, so double check to make sure your finger is pressing the right buttons in the correct order, okay? All right, that brings us to the end of our first lesson here on 4.1a. Go ahead and try your homework and then refer back to the video whenever you're confused about any word.